Most people think the hard part is buying their first property. And for a lot of people, it is. But what's interesting is what happens after that. Because I've noticed something. A lot of investors get 1, maybe 2 properties, and then they stop. Not because they want to, but because something changes. I'm with property investor Tama Singh to understand what actually separates people who scale from the ones who stay stuck without realizing it. Tama, why do most investors stop after 1 or 2 properties?
Well, the boring answer is like serviceability and equity, right? They just didn't buy well enough, and they just maybe bought a new build off the plans. They just bought something in a rush, and they've capped out on either of those 2 things.
Yeah, it becomes an emotional buy, maybe.
Yeah, emotional buy. I went off a rant the other day when I was like, women tell guys to buy houses with nice kitchens and bathrooms and overpay, and they don't even look at any numbers. They buy with the eyeballs, and that's what fails them. They go into financial stress, and then their relationships are fucked.
Yeah, there's a girl math situation.
Oh, girl math for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, certainly with my previous business, there was always a numbers person and a non-numbers person, and you've got to make sure the numbers person's in charge unless you're buying the family home and you don't care about the numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
And at what point does like this momentum shift? Because a lot of people want to have 2, 3, 4 properties, but then they own their family home for 5 years and then nothing happens. Like, how do you've worked with a lot of property investors, how do you see people make that mindset shift when this light bulb goes on and say, yeah, actually I should own 5 or 10 properties?
One thing, my dad told me this as well, is like having home pride. So like if you're going to live in your house, you're going to have the weekends to do shit besides sit on the couch. Shouldn't you be maintaining and like upgrading your house with as much sweat equity as you can? Do the landscaping, which adds huge value, road frontage value. You can do painting, you can learn to install and upgrade your appliances, whatever. And that, when you get revalued, gives you the equity, right? But most people instead don't touch their house after they buy it, right?
Even if it's tight.
Yeah, even if it's an existing one, right? They just get too lazy and they can't be fucked, and then they end up just it never goes up in value. So if a valuer comes through again, they'll just say, "We bought this 3 years ago. What have you done to it? Nothing." So they'll just value it as close to what you paid, especially in this market, right? You have to do forced appreciation. There's no better time and sweat equity to put in on your own mortgage that you're paying for, right? There's no empty holding costs there. Like, that's what people should do. Home pride, first thing to unlock some equity.
If you want to own a real business one day, but you don't know how people actually buy them, that's exactly what Business Apprentice teaches. How deals work, how businesses are evaluated, and how operators step into ownership. Business Apprentice NZ, apply for the Auckland cohort. Well, if you reflect back over the last 5 or 6 years, governments, both sides have really fucked up property investing for a lot of people, changing some of the rules and the taxes and influencing the market. How do you see the next 5 to 10 years playing out for property investors? Is it going to have to be more than just buy and hold?
It's the ultimate wealth builder, right? But there has to be something else that's aiding in your cash flow. So this is just people having certain skills of just trading, right? There's contemporaneous settlements that people are talking about. There's people that can actually do project management, which is another good one. Learning how to do the whole tiny homes things and the new following the council plans of what's happening. That's another good thing to do. But just relying on buy and holds when the government can come in and just flip the entire numbers on its head. Some people, I truly believe that if Labour get in, they say they will not be bringing in interest deductibility, removing that. I reckon they will, and they'll slowly creep that in, maybe 25%, then 50%, then along with the capital gains. And then the people that are migrating over to Australia, there's a theory again online where New Zealand's just going to become a place for extremely poor people and the wealthy. The entire middle class will just be screwed and forced to move overseas, and the poor exist in New Zealand just to serve the wealthy.
Well, yeah, on benefits.
Yes, correct,
Where should Kiwis be looking to buy investment properties? Some good places based on plan changes or based on the deal economics?
Always a blue chip suburb, right? If you can find the worst house on the best street, that is probably a sentence that'll stay true forever, right? The other thing is to not buy where you live. I speak to so many investors that say, oh, I live in, say, I don't know, Palmy or something, and they want to buy in Palmy, but their budget doesn't suit that. And I say, why? And they go, oh, just so I can drive past the house and check on it. And I say, so you're going to give up potential capital gains and cash flow for another deal that might be available to benefit your eyeballs? And I say, just do the situation. You drive past the house, say it's on fire. Say your crackhead meth out tenant is outside smashing the
What are you going
windows.
to do about it?
What are you actually going to do? Pull out your phone, right? And they go, yeah. And who are you calling? Probably the property manager. Cool. That's the property manager's job to do wherever you buy the house.
Yeah.
So instead of you buying in a place that doesn't really have good yield because you live in a high-end suburb, you're going to now give that up just for the satisfaction of your eyeballs. And I mostly say that's what females do. That's not all, but that is how a woman buys. She buys with her eyes, right?
Yeah, well, if I press you for details, where have you bought properties in the last 12 months? Some key cities.
Yep.
Given that that information is public, right?
Yep. So I've helped someone that bought a house for $320,000, 780 square meters freehold land in Hastings, double-storied house, 3-bedroom, 100K reno, all in at 420, outside of the other fees, revalued at 620.
Yeah.
This guy made $200,000 in equity.
In Hastings.
In Hastings, off a $320,000 purchase price. That is insane return on investment. For contrast, someone in Auckland, to get that type of gain, would probably have to buy something for, say, 1.2 and hope that it goes to 1.4.
At least. Yeah.
At least, So to see that growth on something under 350K, everyone would want a deal like that, right? But the thing is that, they'd want it now, but they wouldn't want to buy it when it was 310 and it was fucked and the walls were falling over and there was, it was all smashed up and there was memories of the previous tenancy. It's that doesn't follow you when you renovate the house, right? So people just need to understand that adding value in the right ways, getting that valuation is how you can grow, and it'll rent for $650.
Yeah. So it might even be a buy and hold.
It was a buy and hold for him. He's unlocked himself a lot of equity to go again.
And that was refinanced with a non-bank and then to a bank? Or?
Correct.
Yeah. So where should people avoid? Because there's probably places that you're like, fuck, no way.
Yeah, it's just like each city, I think, has some certain places you can't avoid. One of the things that I never used to do back in the day because I was just moving too fast is get the insurance before I went unconditional. So I never used to do that. But now with all this type of weather events, I'm making sure that I am doing that because I got caught out. You'd think in a safe place like Wellington, right? You're behind the hospital, city centre, right? And all my major insurance providers just wouldn't insure it because they're paranoid about earthquakes, which is new to me, So where not to buy is, be cautious of what the natural disasters are. There's online tools where insurance calculators can show you based on the address a quick yes or no. So yeah, everywhere like that. Even people go about the gang streets. It's like that one there that I just told you, 200K equity. That was on a previous social housing type street.
Yeah.
But you ain't living there. You just made 200 grand on paper though.
Yeah, and if there's gang members, friends living there that are getting their rent supported by government benefits, then you've got assurance of payment.
Exactly, and funny enough, when it's got a bit of a gang street, it's like they don't shit where they eat.
Yeah,
you've got free security.
Yeah, and you want to buy up the whole street.
Absolutely, yeah.
So when you're looking at investment opportunities, either for yourself or for clients, I'm guessing most of the time you're assessing the deal from multiple angles. What happens if I buy it and flip it, or what happens if I buy it and can't flip it or decide to hold it? How do you go through your mind thinking about cash flow and capital gains and weighing up that balance?
Yeah, so one that I've talked about recently with a client is say in Kawerau Bay of Plenty, right? And this is a place that people would shit on because it's a small town and it's got gangs and things like that. But it's only got one gang. Gangs are not a problem when there's only one gang in the town because they don't fight each other and the violence is minimal. It's also huge on geothermal activity. And we've had Shane Jones recently this morning talk about the amount of infrastructure, $50 million getting put into Whakatane and Kawerau to grow it, a $300 million factory that's going to be opened up for there. So that was a hidden gem. And, you got houses there for under 350. And I say to them, flipping there is quite a risk, because just the gains aren't there after GST tax. but the yields are very good on the cash flow, right? So anything that they go to flip, I say, look, worst case scenario, what actually keeps you up at night is the high holding costs. So how have you financed this purchase? Wherever it is in the country, have you gone second tier lender? Yep. Okay. Do you know that after 6 months, they can start to increase the rate and charge you extra fees? Do you understand that? So how slow are you going to be on making decisions when it comes to the reno? I've had a client of mine that didn't action anything for 3 months. She just didn't know what to do to sign off on. So if it doesn't sell, what's the rent that you're going to get? And can you afford that? If you can't, eventually take it over to a main bank. Can you afford for it to sit at 7.5%, and then until the market gets better?
Yeah.
So all these questions sort of need to be asked. And that's why my bread and butter is purchases under 600K.
If you want to own a real business one day, but you don't know how people actually buy them, that's exactly what Business Apprentice teaches. How deals work, how businesses are evaluated, and how operators step into ownership. Business Apprentice NZ, apply for the Auckland cohort. Yeah, because you're always going to find somebody to live there.
Yeah.
And you stay open to that first home buyers market that have 5 or 10% deposit coming through on the other side. Yeah. And so if clients are, homeowners, they're thinking, shit, okay, I've got one property, I've had it for 5 years. What you're saying is there's going to be two classes of people: lifetime renters and then people that own 5, 10, 15, 20 properties. There will be a lot of people sitting in that position of, I want to be a landlord and a multiple property landowner. What do you say to get them off the couch, to encourage them to stop fucking around with Netflix and TikTok?
Well, it's just look at what's happening in the world today, right? There's a small change in gas prices. Most people are fucked, right? Because that transpires into your grocery prices as well. So it's like your disposable income that you thought you were happy with by just buying your 6-pack and your vapes is now gone. So how long can you just allow the world to, exist without you doing anything, where you need something, crazy for you to take action? This is probably it. I'm reading that this is the biggest financial thing that's happening in this world, where if this doesn't wake a lot of people that's been sitting on the sideline not wanting to take action, literally nothing else will after this, right? And it's only sort of going to get worse. So that's the main thing. If you want to get into the wealthy, where there's a lot of people that I know, probably yourself, that don't even notice it. They don't even fucking look at the sign of gas.
The gas price going up 10, 20%. I love it. Because
there's poor people on the road.
There's less people on the road.
Yeah.
I have to sometimes do a lot of driving, and if it takes 15, 20 minutes off my journey, why would I complain about that?
Yeah.
Now, that is from a privileged position.
Correct.
And I know
but it's fact, though.
And I know that it sucks for a lot of people. Get yourself in a position where it doesn't impact you if petrol costs an extra $20-$30 a week.
Absolutely, and everything else that comes from it, right? It's like they're having the emergency fund that's coming that you're going to need earlier than you thought,
There's been, go back, say 15 years when I didn't have anything, and you light a fire up your ass and you figure out how to build a business or make investments or bring value to somebody that has money, and they will give you money for that. You can change your life.
And it's a short-term gratification that people they're just seeing too many people online make money on streaming and crypto, and gambling's a big fucking one now, and they think they just can't get to the fact where you actually do need to do at least 2 years of something. It's a 10,000 hours thing, right? And then they go and watch LeBron James play and think that he was just overnight success.
NRL highlights from 1995.
Yeah, they watch these sports stars and idolize these sports stars, where it's like, you have no idea how long and how much sacrifices they had to do to get there. You just need to do a little bit more than the average New Zealander to be first to buy that house instead of them, get the gain, So it's not much, but they just have to take action.
Tama Singh, you're a great follow on Instagram. If people want to learn more, where should they go?
Yeah, they can find me at Tama Singh, or see our property services on InvestorPro.co.nz.
Appreciate your time, man.
Cheers.
If there's one thing to take from this, it's this. Getting started isn't what separates people. It's what happens after that. Because most people don't fail loudly. They just stall. And over time, that costs them more than they realize. If you want to stay ahead of that, subscribe because we're breaking this down every week.